Welcome into Hockey Sense, everybody. Brought to you by First Community. It's our Friday tradition, and lots to get into once again this week. I don't know where to begin. We've got coaching changes. We've got American League scores. We've got teams advancing now to the conference final in the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Colorado is there. Vegas is now there. That's going to be a great series. I got to give a shout out to Anaheim, Joel Quenneville, the whole Anaheim Ducks staff. Pat Verbeek, everybody. That's a big-time win for them this season to get into the playoffs, number one, to win a round, beat, Edmonton, a team that had gone to the Stanley Cup final each of the last two seasons. And, listen, they kind of ran out of gas. They just don't have a team that's capable, really, of advancing any further. They took it to the limit, but I think they realize now where they're at and, maybe what they might need moving forward to take that next step. But just a great season all around. It's great to have Joel Quenneville back in the playoffs. I know some people are still tweeting out there. They can't believe that he's coaching, that he should just be pushed aside, never to be seen again, ever. Like he's the worst human being on the face of the earth. Thank God reasonable, logical people don't see it the same way as those people. Let's just put it that way. Now, Stan Bowman, on the other hand, in Edmonton, we'll get into him. I don't know what's going on there with Stan. They got some serious work to do. But I want to get into Springfield right off the bat because, I don't even know what to make out of them. They just keep finding ways to win down in the American League. It's a great situation for the organization. And I know it's not the NHL. I know it's not the Blues. But I think is just a heightened interest in that team with Steve Ott leaving the Blues midseason to go down there, take over the team, make the playoffs, and then obviously get to the third round. They're in position. Who knows what could happen? They're 1-1 headed back home. Dylan Dubé is an interesting story. We all know what took place with him. He was part of that whole situation there with the 2018 Canada World Junior team. Went to trial. They were found not guilty. Carter Hart's playing for Vegas right now. You see some other guys playing in different places throughout the world. Dylan Dubé went to the KHL actually to play when he was going through a lot of that. And, the Blues gave him an opportunity. And listen, there was a lot of conversations, a lot of talk between the Blues and his camp. It wasn't like, oh, Dylan Dubé's available, let's sign him. He had some history, obviously, with Calgary. You've got people like Keith Tkachuk on the staff who are familiar with him just based on his son Matthew playing with him in Calgary. I don't know how much Keith had to do with it at all. But regardless, they had a lot of conversations. And I believe the Blues put a plan in place for Dylan Dubé, that if he comes in and he does what they think he can do, that there could be a spot for him moving forward in the NHL. Now, I know there's been a lot of teams that are expressing interest right now in Dubé. Some would probably look at him as a two-way guy. Some look at him as a one-way guy. According to his camp and people that know Dylan Dubé, they talk about his loyalty. He's a very loyal guy, and he's going to be loyal to the Blues organization based on the fact that they gave him an opportunity to get back to playing. And now this guy's rewarding the organization, too, with the way he's playing. He had 2 goals last night. How many goals does he have now in the American Hockey League playoffs? He's up to, 4 goals now in the playoffs. But he scored some big ones. So he scores the second and third goal to force overtime last night. Both came in the third period. Akil Thomas, go Google him. This guy has scored some big goals throughout the course of his career. Maybe not in the NHL, but you remember what he did for Canada in the World Juniors a few years back. He was like a national hero, Akil Thomas. So he gets the game winner in overtime. Calle Rosen had 3 assists in the game. So a lot of familiar names, obviously, showing up on the score sheet last night. Kaskamaki had a couple of big assists. It's good to see these guys continue to play and get that experience of going deep into the playoffs. And we'll see what they can do when they head home. Georgi Romanov, this goaltender, he stops 39 of 42 last night. But Listen, things didn't exactly go, smooth for him throughout the course of the season. He wasn't even dressing when the playoffs began. Will Cranley was the guy. Zarenka was the backup. He wasn't even dressing. And when Jordan Binnington was away at the Olympics and the team started skating again and practicing, of course, he won another goalie on the ice. He was the guy that came to St. Louis and practiced with the team for a couple of days. And I remember having a conversation with him. And there were some whispers, I think, inside and around the organization that maybe there was a little bit of some attitude issues going on there with the goalie, and some things that needed to be corrected. And they probably could have been corrected maybe a little bit sooner. But again, I think it impacted his standing inside the organization to the point that he wasn't even dressing when the playoffs began. So I thought it was a really bold move, an interesting move, a calculated move, a move that paid off by Steve Ott, that they didn't turn to Zarenko. They didn't turn, or, when Cranley maybe was struggling a little bit, they turned to the guy that wasn't even dressing in the first round. And he just caught fire, and he hasn't turned back since then. He's the reason why they got through Charlotte. He's the reason why they beat Providence in one of the biggest upsets in AHL playoff history. I don't want to get too crazy, but in reality, I mean, that Providence team was just completely loaded. And now he's showing up once again here in round 3. So I don't know what that means for him. This guy's going to want to get back in the NHL. And as long as Jordan Binnington stays with the Blues, that's just not going to happen. And I don't get the sense that Binnington wants to go anywhere. I think that if he wanted to go somewhere, he would have already. It's the final year of Binnington's deal. I think the best move for him is to stay in St. Louis, play it out, see where the team is at, and see where his game is at when you get to the trade deadline, when you're in the final year of your contract. I think everyone would understand if he were to be traded at that time if the Blues are out of the playoffs. If they're in the playoffs, he could be a big reason why they're in the playoffs. And they may need him. And if they're not in the playoffs, then, you find a place for him to go. I've always felt like, and it's not just me saying this, based on some, credible conversations that I've had with people that are close to Binnington, that if he were going to leave, the one place that he would want to go finish his career would be Toronto. I don't know if the timing is right now for him to go to Toronto. They've got 2 goalies. Obviously, they'd have to move on from a goalie in order for that to happen. You've got Stolarz there. You've got, obviously, the St. Louis kid also. I keep wanting to call him Michael because that's his brother's name. But Joseph Wool, who's also there in Toronto. So, I just don't think the timing is right for Binnington to go to Toronto. And everyone's always talked Edmonton. I think he wanted to stay away from Edmonton. I think if he wanted to go to Edmonton, he would have. And from what I understand, Edmonton was on his no-trade list, and I've said that several times. Outside of that, if you're Jordan Binnington, you want to go to a team that truly has Stanley Cup winning potential, that they're in the situation where they can win right now. If you're not going back to your hometown team, then where are those teams? And you look at the teams that are in the playoffs right now. You look at Montreal, they look like they're in a good situation with Dobis. I give Marty St. Louis a lot of credit, and obviously his staff and their goaltending coach. They stuck with Dobis in the game last night. He gave up 3 goals in the first period, but they stuck with him. So they're all set there. Carolina, there's always talk about, do they need goaltending help? Frederik Andersen looks great right now. They've got the Bussy kid. You look at Carter Hart, the way he's playing right now in Vegas. Dostal in Anaheim. I know Anaheim's out now. But, you look at Colorado, they have a couple of guys there. So Wedgwood is now the guy once again, even though Blackwood got the start in the last couple of games. So the options really aren't really there for Jordan Binnington either to go to a team that's truly in position to win a cup. Most of those teams have a goalie. And the teams that have number 1 goalies, who I didn't mention, like a Tampa Bay, for example, the Islanders, for example, the Rangers, they're not looking to move on from their number 1 goaltender either. So it's tough. Goaltending is so difficult to predict. Jordan Bennington may be the best goalie on the Blues roster next season. You just have no idea. I've got all the confidence in the world in Joel Hofer. I think he's going to be an absolute superstar when it's all said and done. He's just scratching the surface. And there are times during the season last year where he looked as good as anybody in the NHL. And I think the team truly believes that he's got superstar potential. But it's goaltending. And if Hofer plays the way that he did in October, early in the season again, well, it's going to give an opportunity for Jordan Bennington to get a number of games in a row and for him to make a statement. Bennington's going to come back next season as focused as you've seen him in quite some time. I had a long conversation with him at the end of the year. I know he wasn't happy with the way this season went, but I feel like him getting back to training hardcore, it's not like he didn't do that last year. Had some success last year. The team played great down the stretch. He played great in the Four Nations. Obviously, they went to Game 7 in that first round before they lost to Winnipeg. But coming into this year, I just don't think the mentality, the mindset was where it needed to be for everybody inside the organization, including the goaltenders. And it took them a little while to catch up. I don't think you're going to have that problem next year, at least with Jordan Bennington. I think what he's talking about, what he wants to do, and how he's going to train this offseason, and some of the stuff that he has in store that he told me that we'll keep private, you're going to see a determined goaltender coming back next year in Jordan Bennington. And I just don't think he wants to go anywhere. I think he wants to stay here, and I think obviously the team has so much respect for him as a true iconic figure in Blues history that there's no reason to move on from him. Plus, there really wasn't anyone internally. Now, this Romanov situation could change things. I don't know. But I would imagine there's going to be a team around the league that's going to want to sign Romanov if he doesn't find his way to the NHL here in St. Louis. So a big shout out to Springfield. Kelly Rosen gets 3 assists. They had a lot of guys who stepped up. Kaskamaki had a couple of assists. He was out with an injury, so it's good to see him back in the lineup. But they've got some veteran guys who have been around for a while. Akil Thomas scores a big goal, and Dylan Dubé. And we'll see what happens. But there is a plan in place between the Blues and Dubé, and we'll just have to wait and see how that unfolds as we move along and move forward with Dylan Dubé. So a big shout out. We're going to get into a lot of different things with Jamal Mayers. Chris Wideman's going to join me next, the former Montreal Canadien, get his take on the Canadiens and what's going on there. We're going to talk about Chris Knoblauch and everything happening in Edmonton, the fact that Vegas wouldn't allow Edmonton to speak with Bruce Cassidy. What do you think of that? And a number of other things. And Chris Knoblauch in general. I said this on the Cam and Strick podcast when Edmonton played Tampa earlier in the year. It was late in the season, actually. And after the game, remember Connor McDavid coming out and talking about how they just didn't look as organized and how great and how well coached Tampa was in comparison to Edmonton. And I said to Cam on the show, I go, he just fired Chris Knoblauch. Chris Knoblauch got fired on that day, and there was no turning back. And then you hear the comments from Leon Draisaitl at the end of the season. And trust me, management's on notice too. But there's no way the coach could come back. And it's a shame because he did go to 2 consecutive Stanley Cup final appearances. And, he's had some success. And they just didn't repeat that this year. It's kind of hard, but it's interesting. It's like the Florida Panthers went to the Stanley Cup final 3 years in a row. And they didn't even make the playoffs this year. But sometimes a team just needs to regroup and, hit the reset button. They had injuries, different situation than Edmonton. Plus, they won the last 2 Stanley Cups, so I think they could afford to miss the playoffs for a year. And they're going to be a dangerous team coming into next year. I wouldn't want to play the Florida Panthers next year. Talk about a team that's going to reshape their focus. They're going to be ready to go after missing the playoffs this year. But Edmonton always just seems off. There always seems to be an issue there. But they need a coach who's going to come in there with some balls and truly coach Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl a little bit harder. It's almost the situation with Brett Hull to a much lesser extent. Hawley was all about scoring goals and really changed his game a little bit when he went to Dallas. Less offensive production, fewer goals scored, but he just became a winning player and played winning hockey in Dallas. under head coach Ken Hitchcock. He took that with him to Detroit. He won another Stanley Cup, had some long playoff runs in years that he didn't win. And he just became a great all-around player in addition to being who I think is the second best goal scorer in the history of the National Hockey League. Huge Brett Hull guy. Love Hully. But, somebody's going to have to do that and coach these guys a little bit harder. There's no need to play them 23, 24 minutes a night. And there's details in their game that are lacking, that they're putting the rest of the team in a bad spot. They stay on the ice too long. Their shifts are too long. They come off to change. They put the next guy going out in a bad spot. Everyone else is getting defensive zone faceoffs. Listen, it's the Connor and Leon show, and it's worked. But they're going to need a coach who's going to have to come in and make some adjustments. Toronto fires Craig Berube. I hope Berube finds another job as fast as he wants it. I did touch base with him, and I think he's going to take his time and not rush into anything. But if Toronto wants to hire Bruce Cassidy, and if you think Craig Berube was tough, you've got something else coming for you. Because Cassidy is much harder on his players than Craig Berube is. But either of those two guys would be a great fit to go into Edmonton and try to get that thing in order. The problem is you only have Connor McDavid for 2 years. Do you want to walk into a situation knowing that you don't have these guys locked up for the duration of your time that you would probably be there? Who wants to be the coach when Connor McDavid leaves? I don't think anybody wants to be that guy. And it's just like free agents signing with Edmonton. It might be tough when you don't have these guys, or at least Connor McDavid. You only have him for 2 more years. I just don't see him staying beyond that, although who knows, things could always change. So we'll get into some of that stuff with Jamal. Also, Chris Wideman coming up. First Community brings us Hockey Sense each and every week, live from the Half Coast Studios. And, we love it. So many options for you with First Community right now. Sometimes I don't even know where to begin. There's so many different things to talk about. The new Tesson Ferry location, have you checked that out yet? They've got the Vacation Club account where you can save money, ask about it, and then when it's time for vacation, you got all your vacation paid for. So you save now, and you pay later. Go on your vacation now and then pay later. Youth Month, we've talked about that a lot. Teach your son and daughter, your young kids in your family, the benefit of saving money, the value of money, how to protect your money, how to save your money. Got a great program for that. It's a great way to teach the kids the importance of saving money at an early age. I love that. First Community is also hiring. You can join the team right now. Everything from entry-level to management positions, 11 paid holidays, paid vacations, 401k. They have a pension plan, employee health and dental insurance at no cost to the employee, which is incredible. Learn more at firstcommunity.com. Blue Note Roofing, call David Novak today, 314-920-5713. Get that new roof. Let them take great care of you. Wind, hail damage, tornado damage, whatever it is, 314-920-5713. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. Give them a call today. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Find the location nearest you. Download the app and get the best deals for you on their app. The deals are so good they call them steals over there at Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. So download the app today. Don't sleep on the party goods. Best selection of beer, wine, and booze you're going to find anywhere. Free delivery if you live within 10 miles of a Dirt Cheap location. So check out the app and find out if there's one, or find out the closest one nearest you. There's one close to everyone, I guarantee it, who's listening, who's in the St. Louis area right now. So Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. St. Louis Lawn Equipment, used equipment, pre-owned equipment. They've got the best selection of commercial lawnmowers, commercial equipment, residential equipment, snow blowers. They've got parts. STLLawnEquipment.com. Check that out. They've got parts. They've got repairs. If you don't feel like, hey, I don't want to go buy a new lawnmower, this one's been great for me, just needs a new part, let them go in there and sell you the part, or they'll even fix it for you and repair it for you. STL Lawn Equipment. These guys are unbelievable. It's one of those stores you just want to go to and just walk around, because it really is an incredible store. And they have everything from snow blowers, St. Louis equipment, man. Snow blowers, I want to tell you some of this stuff they have. They've got the commercial mowers, like I said, residential mowers, handheld equipment if you want one of those gas-powered leaf blowers. I love those. The snow equipment, the trailers, all of it. stlouisequipment.com. Check it out and get there today. And Easy Tiger Cannabis, top shelf, baby. EasyTigerAZ.com. Have it delivered to you. Get some of their great apparel as well. If you're dealing with pain, sleep issues, any type of medical condition, they can certainly help you. Recreational options for you as well. EasyTigerAZ.com. Easy Tiger Cannabis, taking your life to the next level. One Easy Tiger product at a time. All right, and Lordo's Diamonds, right there in the heart of Ladue, 314-432-8008. Go say hi to Mike and Jimmy Lordo, the best in the business. They've been around for 70 years. Best selection of engagement rings. They also have a great selection of men's jewelry as well. Bracelets, incredible watches, necklaces, chains, whatever it is you're looking for. Men and women. You can go in there with a $500,000 budget or a $100 budget. Guess what? You're going to get treated exactly the same, because that's what Mike and Jimmy Lordo do. Incredible people. Let them take great care of you. Lordo's Diamonds, right there in the heart of Ladue. Can't miss it, next to Truffles. 314-432-8008. All right, Chris Wideman coming up next. This is Hockey Sense. I'm Andy Strickland. Thanks for hanging out on a Friday. It's our Friday tradition. Tell your friends. Subscribe today to Hockey Sense, available on all podcast platforms. Chris Wideman joins me next here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Stay with us. All right, always great to have Chris Wideman back with us here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. I didn't know you were out in Texas in a member guest golf tournament, so you'll do anything for the show, man. We appreciate that here, and thanks for joining us, man, as always.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Yeah, down here playing a little golf. We had a little too much fun last night, and there is quite a bit of prize money to win here.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I it's like, I think if you win this tournament, you'd make more money than winning a Corn Ferry event. So there's a lot of good players here trying to grind this thing out.
Where are you playing at? Can you say?
I can't say, just because of, you know,
Okay, we won't say that.
the money situation,
Yeah.
but it is, I think the total pot, it's like, I don't know, let's say you score 30 goals in the NHL and you become a free agent.
Yeah, okay.
That annual value was thrown around last night into this pot.
Do you think you have that you guys could win it?
No.
Oh,
Absolutely not.
It's like, damn.
No.
Like, are
You
you
would have a
really
great
good
time
right now?
No. Well, it's flighted, so yeah, we may have a chance in our flight, but you know, the top flight. I mean, there's a guy that played in a handful of, you know, Masters and U.S. Open, so there's like real golfers here. It's pretty wild.
They should be ineligible for this.
I agree, but they all have their amateur status, so it's good, clean fun, but that's a different level of golf.
I was watching an interview with Rory yesterday, and it was a great question, because I always wonder, like, what the answer would be, because they asked him, if you're an amateur golfer but you're a good golfer, what should you shoot if you're a good golfer? And he said between 70 and 80. You should be under 80 for sure.
Yeah, they'd be asking a lot today. They got wind. We're gonna have like 30-mile-an-hour wind here today.
Oh, really?
So this is real Texas golf. Yeah, it's gonna be a grind, but we'll have fun.
Okay, man. I'm watching your Montreal Canadiens. I'm thinking of you, man. You know, it's I just like to see a team just kind of build the right way, be patient with the coach. There's no drama coming out of Montreal. You know, and I know Jeff Gordon a little bit, and Kent Hughes. It's like they came in with the plan. It was unconventional. Kent Hughes had never run a team, but you had a guy who had, but obviously there were reasons why he needed somebody to work underneath him. It's a French-speaking, English-speaking situation. It's unusual throughout the course of the league. Different, I should say. Then they bring in a coach who had never coached, but they just stay patient with everything. Start drafting high, getting all these players, and then here they are, Wides.
Yeah, no, I mean, one of the reasons why I was excited to come on and chat about it, like, you got to give those guys flowers, like everybody, right? Gordon, Hughes, Marty. I mean, it's Jeff Molson, who had, you know, the vision to run with this group of guys, and you know, there certainly were tough times, especially while I was there. Some rough seasons, but they stayed the course. I mean, they didn't try to put temporary band-aids on things to alleviate some short-term pain. And you're seeing the fruits of all of the hard work over the last handful of years. So the team's you know grown together. They play the right way. They stick up for each other, and it's been so much fun to watch. I'm so proud of the guys.
Yeah, no doubt. Nick Suzuki, he's like the most under the radar captain going right now in the National Hockey League for me. I mean, he's a big name. Obviously, played for Canada in the Olympics, and he's the captain of the Montreal Canadiens. So it's not like you don't know who he is, but he seems super quiet. He's not loud. Like, what's he like behind the scenes?
So I can distinctly remember, one of the first trips when I was there, and he's a younger guy. You were playing cards on the plane, and somebody misplays a card, and he's the youngest guy at the table by probably 10 years, and he like kind of puts his hand down and is like, "Hey, that's wrong." And I'm sitting there, and I look at the other guys, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, this guy's probably gonna be the captain one day. Like, he's just that quiet confidence. He works, he goes about his business. He doesn't really, you know, like the limelight or anything. Not that he avoids it, but he definitely doesn't seek it, right? And when you look at some of the other players on the roster, like him and Cole Caulfield, for example, are like a perfect yin and yang, right? Cole's got that upbeat, kind of in your face personality, and Nick's a little bit more reserved. So, they've got a great team on the ice, but a great group off the ice. A lot of guys that I'm still very close with, and just really excited to see them have success.
Who doesn't get enough credit on the team? And by the way, you're right. Suzuki and Caulfield, like their chemistry is like just really watching. That's what I love about the playoffs. You can watch a team, 4, 5, 6 times in a row,
Yeah,
really get to know the
yeah.
team and see why certain players have success with one another. Their chemistry is amazing. But who doesn't get enough credit on that team, you think?
Well, to me, a handful of guys, but the first one I'll say, you know, like Lane Hudson might be the best defenseman in the league.
My God.
Like like I know it's crazy to say, but is there a defenseman that steals more pucks? Like, he's not going to hit guys, right? But is there a defenseman that goes into a engagement and comes out with the puck more, and then when he gets the puck, it's magic. So I would say that he probably doesn't get enough credit, even though he's gets quite a bit of attention. I think he's, again, one of the best D in the entire league. I would say Caden Gooley's probably a little bit overshadowed by Lane. Mike Matheson's been unreal this year, and a great veteran for the team. And then you look at like the bottom half of the forward group. People are starting to learn about Alex Newhook and Jake Evans, Josh Anderson. I mean, Josh Anderson is a dog.
Dog.
Like, you want that guy on your team, man. I remember playing against him, earlier in my career when he was in Columbus, and I'm like, you know, I saw a lot of the other teams third and fourth lines. I'm like, "Dude, get this guy away from me!" Like, they'll chase you anywhere, hit you, like it make you feel very uncomfortable. So
And beat the
I'm
shit out of you at
again,
the same time if he did steal.
oh my god, dude, he's tough. No, I think you could throughout the lineup. I think they're a team that's definitely overlooked in the States because they don't get national TV coverage here in the States. And, I mean, it's a fun brand of hockey. And again, goes back to the first topic we covered, the vision that, Kent and Jeff had, and Big Jeff, the big boss, and bringing Marty in. I mean, Marty, if you can't play for Marty St. Louis, you can't play hockey. Like, he is as good of a coach as there is in the league. He gives players real ownership of not only their individual game, but the collective group. And, he's gotten guys to buy in and to play for each other. And you're seeing the results of it.
Yeah, he's amazing. And he's a Seinfeld fan too. He keeps it loose. Like I just love the way he handles himself. And I love the way he answered the question yesterday too, because I'm watching the game and I'm wondering, hey, is Dobas going to get the hook? Um, And they kept him in there. He said, "No, it's pretty easy. We just phoned up to the goalie coach, and he said leave him in, so we just left him in." So I mean, were you thinking
And
maybe they were going to take him out or no?
I I didn't think that he would. Um, just like Marty's. I feel like Marty's coaching style, and people ask me a lot, and I grew up a huge fan, right? So like when he comes in to coach the team, I'm like, this is incredible, right? Just grew up watching him play, but his coaching style is, I mean, he coaches how he would want to be coached, right? So he uses all the experiences that he had in his playing career and then, coaching minor hockey and kind of just brought it together. And he loves the game, man. Like this guy, he loves hockey. He loves the team aspect of just being, together, dressing room, road trips. Like he loves it. And you can see in his face, he enjoys it. And, um, the guys love playing for him.
Cam and I had him on when he was retired. He wasn't coaching yet, and he was coaching his kids. And like the way he was talking the game, I said to him on the podcast, I said, "You're going to coach in the NHL if you want to," and he just kind of laughed. And it wasn't really in the cards. Like he was like, I like coaching my kids," but the way he was breaking down the game, like his intelligence and the passion that he had for the game, you could just feel it. I want to go back to Lane Hudson though, because he's going to want a Norris Trophy one day, and he's not put in the same category right now as the Hugheses and the Makars and, some of these other guys, but he's not far off before people start putting him in there. Because he produces you can't hit him. I feel like he's got some resemblances to your game. Obviously he like size-wise, like, you know,
Yeah.
like I look at some of these smaller defensemen who play, but he's so shifty and his skating is and his hockey sense is incredible. Like I don't understand how he's able to play that way. He's like one of the most confusing players I've ever seen, wise, just in terms of
He's
watching
like
this guy play.
Patrick Kane on defense, right?
It's
He's
but
I mean,
quicker,
like
shiftier almost.
yeah, I mean, he doesn't get hit. Well, obviously, he's a phenomenal skater. Um, but I think you touch like his hockey sense, right? Like he's so good at reading the game. He is yeah, his radar of not only when he gets the puck, like where to go with it, but just reading the play, knowing that um he never really puts himself in a bad position or a vulnerable position to get hit, right? And guys are certainly trying to take a piece out of him. He's a smaller guy, like you said, and I mean, just you can't get it. You can't get to him. He's just too smart and too quick.
It's like it's weird, man. It's weird watching him play. It really is. It's
I
just
mean, you got to think these opposing teams are like, hey, every chance you get, you have to hit the guy, right? Like, you
100%.
know that they're saying that, and how many? I mean, he got hit a few more times in the Tampa series for sure, and I think that probably because that team is a little quicker, maybe they could get to him, but he hasn't really been hit hard in this series, and you got to think they're trying to get him.
Look at Quinn Hughes, how hard Colorado got to him a couple of times.
Yeah,
And Nathan McKinnon was a guy who was doing it on a few occasions.
well, he can skate, right?
Yeah, and he's
He can
strong.
skate. I mean, he can catch him. So, yeah, I think again, like I said, I think Lane is probably a guy that I would say, even though he's recognized as a premier player, I still think he's undervalued by a lot of people.
Do you feel like there were this many young, or not young, but small defensemen when you first came into the league and you turned pro? Like there were all these young little guys floating around who were given an opportunity, and it just wasn't a big deal all the time about their size because they were so good.
I think the game has changed quite a bit over the last decade of it's a possession game. It's you see a lot less dumping and chasing, and I think that that's one thing that Montreal does really well is they don't shoot the puck in for to get rid of it, right? Like if they shoot it in, somebody's on it. The puck's never exiting the other team's zone quickly, right? They have somebody there that's at least applying some sort of pressure so that guys can change and get set. But it's a possession game now. I think that size is important throughout the lineup, but I mean you don't need the old LA Kings defense that was all 6'2" and above. I think they called him the LAPD at one time. Like I don't think that that's necessary anymore.
Well, you remember the size of the Blues defense too when they won in 2019. They were all huge.
They were built. The team was built different, right? And that's, I mean, obviously you got to play to your strengths, but I think that, specifically the style that Montreal plays, a positionless possession game where, guys are comfortable kind of filling in wherever they need to be at any given time. I think it's one given teams. It's frustrated teams playing against them, right? It's hard to pre-scout. You guys don't. I mean, they certainly have tendencies, but you don't see a lot of the same flow, right? They play, they take what's given and try to create opportunities. But I think that's the modern game, and that's where it's headed. And they're pretty good at it.
All right, a few more things for you. So Caulfield has goals now in 3 consecutive games, and he went through a stretch there where he wasn't scoring. And it's easy to say, well, it's the playoffs. Like this guy scored 51 in the regular season, but it's the playoffs. It's different than the regular season. You got to get to the inside. I mean, yesterday he scores. He's right around the blue paint, although he scores a lot of goals around there during the regular season too. But to see this guy score 50 this year, were you surprised? You always feel like he had that in him to get to that number. I mean, to be a 50 goal scorer in the NHL, not many guys do that.
Yeah, I think 50 is a huge number. I can't say that I expected him to score 50, and he's a phenomenal player and a great goal scorer. Um, but to achieve that and do it the way that he did, where he's down to the last handful of games, and people were very excited in Montreal. I mean, there's a lot of pressure. Just talking to him just about every day through that whole thing, and I knew that he wanted to do it for the fans and for his teammates, and just to bring recognition to the team, right? Like he's got such a great perspective on who he is as a player, and just what they're doing as a team. It's been a lot of fun to watch, and just really proud of him. I think that, again, scoring 49 goals is unreal, but it ain't 50, and he was able to do it, and just really proud of him.
And then get the next one and get to 51, so it's
Oh, I know. He was like, I like, I, I think he had a little stretch. Like, he couldn't like leave his apartment, and like people were like, "Come on, score!" Like it was pretty tough on him.
is he still like the same way he was when he first came into the league? I just feel like he's
Yeah,
just like a little kid.
he hadn't changed. Like yeah, I think what was it, game 4? My son and I were watching game 3, and he wanted to wear his Caulfield jersey to school the next day, and we're like, sure, go ahead. But he didn't have he's got a couple of 22 jerseys that have a 13.
I saw
And
your
so I
kid
said,
weird
well,
that the other day, maybe.
yeah,
And I saw the
yeah.
92. I'm like, come on, why'd you got to get him the 13?
So I sent him the picture of Henry wearing the jersey, and he sends back immediately. He had gone to the team store, got him a new 13 jersey, got him new pajamas for both my son and daughter, got him t-shirts that say Mr. Saturday Night. Like he's one of the best. He's honestly probably one of my closer friends of guys that I play with in my career, but he's a great dude. He's very selfless. He just looks after others, and for a guy to be, um, that good of a player and be an even better person is very unique.
I love hearing those stories, man. Tell the audience though what his life is like. Like what can he do in Montreal? Like in a market like that, when you're as popular as he is, can he go out to dinner and just hang out and enjoy the night?
So
Like what's it
we
like?
used to, I we used to spend a lot of time together, and um, go for lunch and dinner and stuff. And I used to joke around. I'm like, I take more pictures of this kid and fans. Like, if you like, you go out to dinner and you take it like 40 pictures with people, and like he's so good about it. Like I don't know. Again, as he gets older and has a family and different things, I mean, I'm sure it's gonna wear on him a little bit, but he's so good about it, man. He makes so much time for kids, and taking photos with fans and signing stuff. Like I think he's really enjoying, um, you know, the moment, and what they're doing as a team and his contribution. I just we had the few years that I was there, it was so hard to feel good about yourself going to the rink every day. And there's probably 80% of the rosters there now, guys that I play with that went through that. And I think that they can all sit there and say, man, the hard times are worth it. Like they got to be having so much fun right now. That city is, it's gonna, if they win tomorrow night, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. All right, two more things. Jakob Dobis, I mean, I've known this kid since he was a teenager. He played for us his first year, or 2 years actually, with the AAA Blues. And I remember when Lubos Barteko, I had him on last week to tell the story again, but I remember when he told us, hey, I've got this kid coming from the Czech Republic who's like good enough to be on their national team. And I remember like being like, Lewis, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why is he coming to
Why is
the like what? He's like, he can't find a place to play right now. I'm like, okay. And then he gets here and you're like, damn, like right away, he just passed the eye test. You know, like even if you don't know anything about goaltending, you can just tell if the goalie has it. And you knew right away that he had it. And he scored a goal in midget hockey, like went over the top. Like, I mean, I've never seen a goalie score a goal anywhere really, but even in midget AAA, like you just don't ever see that. What's he bringing to the team? And how long have you believed that he could do what he's doing right now? Or is he proving to you something right now that maybe you didn't know he had?
Man, I think everybody hoped, right? Like, I don't know if you can, I don't think you could even dream or predict what he's doing right now. Like, he's been so good. He's been so calm, while also engaging and kind of standing his ground in the crease, which I think the team gets some energy off of. But, I go back to a few years back, towards the end of my career. We're training with him in St. Louis in the gym, and just I was fascinated by his athleticism, his foot speed, his quickness, just doing some agility stuff for a goalie. It was pretty unique, especially at his size, and that was kind of like the light bulb in my head, being like, all right, maybe something there. But then like we got out on the ice a few times, and I'm like, all right, we can't hit this guy with the puck. It was like a transition for him, seeing some different shots, and to see where he is today now, it's like, wow, he's put a lot of work in. I think he gets a lot of confidence out of the work that he's put in and his road to get to where he is today. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but I mean, he seems to be, unflappable. Look at last night, lets in three on three shots, and then makes what, 31, 32 saves. It's pretty cool.
He's so confident, man. He's got that swagger that you just don't often see from European
Well,
goaltenders. Really?
the boys love him too. They bust his chops a little bit. I don't know if it was maybe last year, maybe this year. He like shows up to training camp the first day in like a cyber truck, and guys were like, "Come on, dude!" Like,
Really?
especially in that market, right? Like, the practice facility there. I mean, I can't even imagine what it's like now. There was probably, if I had to guess, a couple hundred fans out there waiting for the guys in the morning on the way to and from practice. But training camp is the same way, right? So he rolls in his cyber truck, and the guys are like, "Come on, dude."
And he hadn't really even played yet.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's like,
I see him though, like he's got like endorsement deals, and I know that's just the course for Montreal
well,
players.
when you're in Montreal, yeah,
He's got mattress deals. He's at BMW dealerships, Range Rover dealerships. I mean, is
yeah.
everybody getting a deal there?
I mean, I know people. Again, I don't want to be I don't want to stick my nose in something and get myself in trouble, but you know, yeah, the taxes are higher, certainly, right? You can go play in Florida and
Yeah.
save some money on taxes, but I believe where sports and specifically the NHL is headed, um, and just the intersection of sports and business that seems to kind of be growing every day. These guys are going to have a lot of opportunities to make money off the ice and kind of fill that, you know, tax void that they could avoid by going and playing another market. But then you're like, you win a cup in Montreal. I mean, you're a legend. right? Like the guys
Yeah.
the alumni that are around, and you see them with their Hall of Fame jackets and their Stanley Cup rings,
Hmm.
and just the love they have for the franchise and the city, and it's just such a part of the culture that I think that Montreal will end up being a destination for free agents
Yeah.
in the short
Well,
term.
it should be original six team, historic team. Especially if they win again, then that'll change the mindset. I know the taxes are high, but like you said, you can make that up pretty quickly off the ice if you're smart. Last thing, if they can get through Buffalo, what will they need to do to beat Carolina? Like 'cause Carolina just looks like a different breed right now.
Yeah, I think that some of the teams. I mean, they're super physical. Big team, heavy team. I think some of the teams that you know get to this stage of the dance here and face a team like that, like you're not going to beat them in an arm wrestling match, right? You got to figure out a way to play your style of hockey while not giving them the ability to dictate the physicality, right? So Montreal is going to have to push back physically, but then also too, it's not going to be a dump and chase game. They have to play their possession game. They have to feel comfortable um, with the physicality. They have to feel comfortable knowing that if they get chances on the power play, that they've got to execute and score. And I think that the power play has looked really good in this series. It's probably some chances that should have been goals, but um, I'd love to see him get through. I think that Carolina would be a challenge, but again, they've proven a lot of people wrong throughout this season and through these playoffs. Like there's no reason why they can't get through Carolina.
Yeah. And Marty St. Louis in his pregame speeches, he'll have them ready to go, right? You know that as well as anybody. It was good to see Demidov score yesterday and kind of get going because they could use him to get hot as well and start putting some goals in. So, Wise man, best of luck today in the golf. I love catching
Thank
up
you.
with you. That was fun, man. I appreciate the insight
Yep.
and go have fun today. We'll do it again soon.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
All right, thanks,
Thanks for
Wise.
having me.
Yeah, you got it, buddy. All right, Jammers here. Appreciate Chris Wideman for joining us as well. Got into some Montreal Canadiens. That's his team, and terrible game last night. Really, it just was not the most exciting, especially early in the first period. So we've kind of gotten into that game quite a bit. Vegas is growing on me, I mean, Mitch Marner is growing on me
Oh,
too. I mean, that's one of the best playoff games I've seen an individual player have, and he's had some good games here in the playoffs this year, but there was a 10-minute stretch last night where this guy was unbelievable, and the goal he scored on a breakaway with Lacombe water skiing on him and to be able to have the ability and skill level to finish like that, it's one of the nicest goals I've ever seen in the playoffs, Jammer.
well, you want to talk about a rare combination of skill, spatial awareness, toughness for a skilled player. Now, there's a difference, and for young players out there. You know, when coaches want you to be more physical, it's physical for you. It's not physical in the sense of the most physical player in your team. I think that's where kids and parents sometimes get confused. And what I mean by that is Mitchell in that particular goal showed unbelievable spatial awareness, but he was physical in the sense of when he chose to hide the puck
Mm-hmm.
and use his body to shield the
Yes.
comb. That to me is physical
Mm-hmm.
to be able to do that. Without that physical part, he isn't able to create that unbelievable skill set to like completely fool the goalie. The only thing he could have done to score
It
was
is.
exactly what he did because he was right on top of the goalie who put his pad right in front of the puck. There's no way to elevate it. And I literally rewound it 6 times.
Me too.
And like may have had an audible like whoa, like in the living room. And no, I was by myself and had crew come downstairs and you have to watch this.
Yes, I did this exact same thing. I was screaming. I couldn't believe it. Like, I mean, it was because the whole play was kind of like a slow developing breakaway because he couldn't really get it. Lacombe can skate as well as
Yes.
anybody in the league, and he's a big body. And I was happy with that. And then you talk about his awareness. His next play, seeing Killorn, a forward, was actually defending,
Yes.
and how he just toyed with him
Yes.
and just so patient and
And
put
then the fake shot to be able to slide
yeah,
the
and put a
time.
dime on his
Just
blade.
but there was even I'll take it back, not to over talk about these things, but I think it's important for younger players if we're going to help them out. Is what I loved about it was Mitch, and great players do this. How about how early he left the zone?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the puck had looked like it was going to turn over, he's gone. And that's when Carlson gets the puck, and he's immediately, there's a communication there before, like, if I get the puck as a center or the D cleanly with space just inside our hash mark in the defensive zone, get going, try to get behind the D. And that's exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm.
He left the zone early. That instinct, I think you can teach. So it's important for younger players, wingers, to pay attention to that. When defensemen block shots, take off. Like, you should be looking to get behind the D, and that's one of the points I was trying to show crew. And the second one is the awareness when he noticed that Killorn was one of the D, because he was killing a penalty. He was on the power play, and they had 4 forwards, obviously. The delay that he had, but before he delayed and went at Lacombe, he looked over his left shoulder to see who was coming. That gave him the information to know that he had time to let his teammate, who ended up scoring, get to the other side of the net. And then all of that processing at the same time is just at another level.
Yeah.
So impressive. You can break it down so many different ways.
It's just amazing to have that ability at that level to be able to slow the game down like
Unreal.
that.
It's like, for him, he probably won't say it because it'll sound egotistical, but he's in a zone right now that he's probably going to look back and go, wow.
No, he's in a
I
zone.
was feeling it.
He's in his zone. And Demidov was feeling it too after he scored. I mean, you listen, look at how you can't tell me confidence isn't everything. It's amazing when you see a guy just who's an elite player when they're feeling it.
Yeah.
When McKinnon starts feeling it or McDavid starts feeling it, it just becomes, box office type, performance. Basically, it's like when you're watching like a movie of a movie star, man. It's worth the price of admission to see these guys do what they're doing. That's why they get paid the money. These guys all deserve it, in my opinion. These superstar athletes, I don't care what sport it is. Jamal, I know they get paid a lot of money, but you look at how much like movie stars get paid and whatever, because people pay to go watch their movies. Well, people go pay to watch a great NBA player or a quarterback, or you watch a hockey player, man. And when they perform at that level, it's worth it. That's what you're paying for.
It's interesting because Donnie Granato was talking about he's coaching world championships for U.S. And he was asked the question, like, are you disappointed when you go to some players and they decide that they don't want to come to the world championships? And he had a really interesting perspective on it. He said that's different than it was 20, 25 years ago. And what he said was, listen, these players dedicate themselves to this craft of being a professional hockey player, so it takes over their entire life. What they're eating, how they're resting, how they're recovering, how they're training, how they're sleeping. So when they have to take a pause, what they're doing is not disrespectful to the US or Canada or whatever country they're looking to represent. What they're saying is that emotional toll to be that disciplined and focused as a professional hockey player in today's NHL takes so much energy and time that sometimes they have to say, am I ready to commit right now again to that level of commitment to bring that again for another 3 weeks traveling over to Switzerland? So I thought that was a real unique perspective, but it gives you some insight into what you're talking about in regard to the discipline and the focus that it takes to play in today's NHL. It's different than when I played. I mean, I think I was at the beginning of when guys actually came to camp in shape. And the joke that I always said is I knew I was in trouble as a professional, as an NHLer, when the good players started coming in shape. And the good players were ripped. And Jonathan Toews was probably one of the first examples of that. And I always used to joke, like, if a guy had a little bit of a belly, I was like, oh, he must be really good. Like, the joke was, oh, they're really skilled, or that guy's really good. Then it changed over.
Well, remember when, because I remember covering Al McInnes in the later years of his career, obviously, but he was still playing at the highest level, and Pronger, and it was like all this talk about how they had a trainer in Arizona. And it was like they had this trainer, and like it was like this guy who was like, and some NFL players were going to him, and like they had this specialized trainer, and it's like now everybody has their own trainer.
Right.
They're all over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the joke back then, if you can go back, to be honest with you, was that guy was charging like $15,000 a summer.
So you had to have the money for
Okay,
it. Yeah.
you had to have the money. But not only that, you're also training Prongs and Al. And I would joke with Bryce Salvinard said, yeah, he's helping them become a better version of themselves but you're not the reason why they're winning the Norris or the Hart.
Right.
Go do that with you, Bryce, and then he might have something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a little. Come on, you're already dealing.
What do you
with
think Gary
best
Roberts charges for these kids to go? And like Ben Prentice and some of these guys who are well known, obviously, like he's on the East Coast. I know Shaddy always talked about him for years. What are they charging?
15 to 20 grand a summer.
And what are you getting out of that? Like you're on ice, off ice. I mean, these are the best of the best. So
Yeah, they're training with them. They're every day. They get a nutrition plan, a supplement plan.
they feeding them everything.
All of that stuff is likely included for the entire summer. But my argument has always been, I'm okay with the initial thing. Like if I want to go work with you, this is just my opinion. I'll pay you the 30 grand, but it shouldn't be recurring every summer the same amount. And the reason why I say that is this, is that it's just information. If you look about the information and the training methods from 2022 to now in 2026, they have changed year to year, but to see a significant change takes 5 years, in my opinion. It's just information, right? You still got to do the work. And so how valuable is your information? Are we talking $20,000 worth of new information every summer?
Every summer.
I'm still
you're doing the same thing you did last summer.
You're doing a lot of the same stuff.
So so you're paying for that in the initial fee.
That's my thought.
Should you pay for that every summer?
That's the issue.
Now you do get world-class training. You get the facilities. You're on the ice with all these other world-class players too. You know, there's a lot of advantage to these. You know, I was talking to we just had Connor Garland on. Be a great player for crew to watch, right shots, you know, really skilled player, like just, and how he goes about his training. This is the first summer that he's taken some time off the ice, hadn't ever done it. He just wants to be at the rink. He'd go play men's league at night. He just always felt like he just wanted to be on the ice, but he struggled down the stretch of the season. And therefore he's like, you know, maybe this is, and he decided a 6-year deal, you know, so which kicks in next year. So he's like, you know, maybe I should take a little bit of time off. He's not taking much time off, you know, but I just think at some point you got to refresh the mind and the body. But I think your environment and who you're training with, I think that goes a long way too.
Oh, it's massive. I always, no, the times have changed, right? To his point, I think sometimes as a player, the anxiety of not being on the ice helped me get there mentally to like really do it. I feel like if you skated 3 times a week all summer, you'd lose the edge of the urgency to I got to get better. Camp is in X amount of time, if that makes sense to you. I think that if I was still playing, you can't not go on the ice. I think, but more than twice a week after you take your 2 or 3 week break, I think it's a little bit overkill. I think there's something to be said about having that anxiety, that anxiousness of, I want to make sure I'm sharp, because you can lose your edge in your training at some point. I think that's probably the struggle that most players deal with still today, is like, how much should I skate? I still want to have that edge. I still want to feel good when I'm on the ice, but I don't want to start doing things slower or not as quickly or not as intentionally. I'm sure that's the interesting dynamic that they have to work through.
Yeah. I did have a dad come up to me yesterday and say that my kid's been on the ice for 5 hours today.
Whew.
And almost like, no, in a real like
Proud.
yes. And I'm like, I don't know if that's necessary. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's beyond this unnecessary. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. I think there's evidence, even like physiologically, that it's skating is not a natural motion. It's not good for their hips. It's not good for their proprioception and development. I'm not a scientist in regard to the development of kids athletically, but I know that skating is not a natural motion, and it's not something that that they should do a lot of. It's the reason why, you know, even with STL Elite, Joey and I are condensing things down into 4 weeks versus we had 6 weeks. And now it's like, let's get it in 4 weeks. It's still, you know, it's still 16 days of training that allows you to get better. But I think you got to be really mindful of like how that works out for the kids and how you're going to get the most benefit without overtaxing them and allowing them to be kids and have a summer and enjoy playing other sports, doing other things, just being active, whatever they're in. I just think it's so important. It's one of the reasons why we had several kids that were playing baseball, and I hope the parents and the kids can really remember this, because I was very intentional about it. Is, hey, if baseball is at the same time of a spring, go play baseball.
Right.
Hockey
Winter's
is not the
different.
priority
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Exactly. And when I want the same thing, I wish every sport would do that. And then when
Yeah.
it's, do not penalize when you're doing winter warm
Fall
up,
ball, fall baseball, and the
don't
kid plays
penalize-
hockey.
yeah.
Don't penalize the kid for missing a baseball game to go to hockey,
That's the
because we're going to the summer games
yes.
when he has hockey at the same time and prioritizing baseball over hockey. Yeah, so it's interesting. Your take on Vegas not allowing Edmonton permission to talk to Bruce Cassidy. What were your initial thoughts on that?
It was within their right. I think it's disappointing from either side that they let that leak, and it only makes sense that it came from the Edmonton side, right? Because what advantage would Vegas have for leaking that, if you think about it? So it either came from Cassidy's camp or it came from Edmonton's camp, right? It does not come from Vegas's camp, right? Like, just follow the logic. Does it make sense for them to come out and say we denied them access? Well, because you're putting another organization in a weird position. It just doesn't make sense. So it only could have come from, his agent,
Yeah.
or the or the Oilers that wanted to speak to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was really unfortunate because you still had a coach, right? And so imagine if you're sitting there as a lame duck who, let's not forget, prior to not making the play, not making it this year, they
made the playoffs.
well, prior to not
losing in the first round,
losing,
back-to-back
they did go
Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's really
I know. So Chris Knoblauch puts him in a weird spot, makes Edmonton look bad. Did you? So Stan Bowman, who you know obviously, and he said, well, he wanted to talk to him face to face, and he wasn't in. So I don't know. So what's the protocol? Should you even? I know it got out, but should they wait to even ask for permission until after you make the change? Or do you have to, let me ask, do you have to know, maybe we're not sure if we want to make a change unless we know we can get this guy. Then maybe we make the change, right? It's like a lot of times you fire a coach, like Toronto, I know they fired Chief. I'm sure they have an idea of who they're going to hone in on or who they're going to target as their next coach when you make that decision. Yeah, we'll move on from Chief because we feel like we can get this guy, So
I think that you make a great point. I think that is very reasonable to think, because, and that's probably what he's told.
I mean, the Blues talked to Monty before they fired Drew Bannister.
Right. I
You know
think
what I'm saying?
that's natural, because if you can't, it's not that they don't like their coach, but if I can't upgrade my coach, I'm not firing my coach.
Exactly. They're not firing Drew Bannister if they don't know they can go get a deal done with Jim Montgomery.
They're not, right? And so I think that's a very valid point. I think the chain of communication, it's unfortunate in today's world, those things
You don't think they
do
talked
get
to
out.
Torts before they fired Bruce Cassidy? Of course they did.
Exactly.
You have to know that you have a guy coming in before you make that move. Now, I was joking at the time, but I wasn't. I was being serious. I mean, when Connor McDavid came out after that game against Tampa, and he was basically saying how organized and how good Tampa was and how well coached they were, he fired Chris Knoblauch on that day. Like, Chris Knoblauch, he was fired. That day is when he got fired. They just let him hang around the rest of the season. There's no way he was going to be able to come back from that. And then Leon Draisaitl's comments after the season, he's putting management on notice too. I think management obviously has just fumbled the ball here on a couple of occasions in Edmonton. They're struggling big time.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like it's going to get better, because he's saying we got to get more out of our current players, and I think there's no ownership in regard to the players that they've allowed to leave.
And they've signed some guys that it just hasn't worked out. Some of the signings they've made,
Yes.
it has not worked out. Is that an attractive job for a coach if you feel like Connor McDavid's got one foot out the door and he's going to be gone in 2 years?
It's an attractive job anytime you got a team with Draisaitl.
What about it if you're a free agent?
Absolutely.
And you're in position to get it to sign? You're a prime free agent. You're a really good player. So you can get anywhere from 5 to 7 years anywhere in the league you want. Do you sign in Edmonton with this guy only being around for 2 years as a player?
Well,
I don't know if I'd do that.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Connor McDavid, I am flying to see Binner, and I'm convincing Binnington that he needs to come to Edmonton. I think they start there, and then they've got
I don't know if Bennington, like, if you're Bennington, though, okay, you look at where they're at. Like, you know, I feel like Bennington, with 1 year left in his contract, and I said this before you came on in my intro, that I feel like it's in his best interest to be patient, see where the team is at that he's playing on currently with the Blues, play well, and take this to the trade deadline. Are the Blues out of the playoffs? Or are they in the playoffs? And if they're out of the playoffs, then kind of, you know, look and see who has interest and go play well, and then obviously get your next deal. But I don't know if he has to make that decision right now. He made the right decision not to go to Edmonton during the season. I just feel like they have a lot of issues there. And, you know, I don't blame him for not wanting to go there. I really don't.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're looking at it from Binner's perspective. I think that's a very logical, fair thing for him to do. I'm more giving you the Edmonton perspective and what they
Got to find a way to get a
should
guy.
do. They've got to find a guy, and there's
it's
really
hard.
not that many of them.
I'm looking at it right now, Jamal. I'm looking at all the goalies who are left in the, like, Montreal. No one would have said they had a guy, and now all of a sudden it looks like they have a guy. You know, does Anaheim still need to get a guy? I mean, they may still need to get a guy. You would have said during the season maybe Dostal is a guy. Frederick Anderson, all of a sudden, he wasn't the guy. They brought in Bussy, and now he's playing at an unbelievably high level. Like, goaltending is so unpredictable. The teams that have guys aren't even playing right now. Vasilevsky, you know, Sorokin, Rangers goaltender, you know. Like, those are teams that, those are all the teams that have guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and they're not even playing right now. So, and they're not looking to trade their number one goalie to Edmonton. So it's like, you got to draft one. And a lot of these guys were drafted by the teams that they're playing on right now. Binnington was a draft pick of the Blues. Hofer, draft pick of the Blues. All these other guys. You got to find a way to find a goaltender that you can draft and develop, because teams that have number one goaltenders or teams that could truly help Edmonton get over the top aren't looking to give Edmonton their goaltender.
True.
You know, it's hard.
Yes.
So I kind of like, yeah, they've never been able to find a goalie, which is crazy, but it's like, they got to draft one and develop one.
Right.
You know?
They don't have that time. Like, if you're looking at the timeline is McDavid's time.
Right.
You don't have time.
No, you don't. Now, you've run out of time now.
No, so you've got to go out and get one. You've got to go find one this summer.
You know, a veteran guy like a Frederick Anderson is the type of guy they need to go find. You know what I mean? Like, when he was in Toronto or whatever, like, those are the guys that you want to bring on board, that you know that can play. That, you know, they had Rolison years ago, you know, who was at an advanced age, but could still play. They need one of those guys. So I don't know if it's Kemper or one of those type of guys. You know what I mean? Like, those type of guys are the ones they need to find.
After this year, this summer, Colorado has two, right? So maybe you're able to get one. There's opportunity out there. I think you've got to go out and get one.
All right, a few more things real quick. Your reaction to Berube being fired?
It's unfortunate. I think the writing was on the wall. They want to, you know, it's very unlikely, and when you had a new GM, that they don't bring in their own coach to put their stamp on the team. It's unfortunate, because I think the first year that he was there, they took strides to becoming a better playoff type team. I feel like somehow they got away from what they actually were really good at doing, and they became way more about a dump and chase type of team, and watching them play, and they don't have the roster to do that. So it felt like when he first was there, that first year, they had the good balance of both, of being able to change their game just a little bit. And then it felt like they went completely built to, like, just dump it in, and you're having, like, they're good players, like, dumping it in and chasing.
They loved Chief a year ago.
And that's not the way
at this time. He was the greatest thing ever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now it's just so interesting how it changes. Would you bring him in if you're Edmonton? Like, do you feel like, because for Edmonton, do they need to really sit back and look at how they utilize their two-headed monster up top? Do they need to play 24 minutes a night? I've talked to players, listen, and I know they're incredible players, two of the greatest players to ever play in the history of the game, in Draisaitl and McDavid. But they play so much, and you see how long their shifts are and when they change and how they put the next guy coming over the boards in a bad spot because the puck's in the defensive end. Everybody else is getting D zone faceoffs the entire game. It's like, do they need to? It's probably a bad example, but I looked at Brett Hull in terms of how he scored all these goals here in St. Louis. Then he goes to Dallas, and Hitch kind of like got him, and the rest of the group got him to like evolve as a player, and he became a really good, all around player. Won a couple of Stanley Cups. Like, is there an adjustment that those guys are going to have to make if they want to win eventually?
I've been saying this for about 4 or 5 years. Yes, but that to me is on Draisaitl. I think you got to let McDavid do what McDavid does,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Draisaitl is going to have to become an 80-point guy and be the more of a I'll match up against the other team's top guy and I'll come out +2.
What do you see? Does McKinnon do the same thing, or does he kind of? I mean, this guy scores 50 goals every year.
No, they've insulated him, and what they brought in the defenseman that's the forward centerman from the Islanders. American guy, tall.
Oh, Brock Nelson.
Nelson takes on that role so he doesn't have to do that.
Okay, but they've got their role play. I love the Ross Coltons of the world, Parker Kellys. You see the pass Kelly made to Natchez?
Yeah,
Just throwing it off the wall on the game winner. Like the awareness.
yeah, they have the perfect fourth line for a winning team that in today's NHL. They can all skate. They kill penalties.
Can Carolina beat them?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's I could show you on my phone. Those are the two teams I had. I had a lot of mistakes
but
in the
like
first round.
I think a lot
Those
of
are the
people
two
would have had the obvious best team in the West is Colorado.
Yeah.
Best team in the East is Carolina.
Well,
but Carolina, you just never know, man.
Carolina,
and,
a lot of doubt.
And this is where the challenge is going to come. Like, you've swept the first two teams. I don't know how good Montreal is, how much of a challenge if they get past Buffalo that they can present to Carolina. I don't know. But Carolina has shown in the past they wear down and they just can't get it done. They've gotten to the conference finals. So you wonder mentally if that's going to creep in, and do they get tight when you get to the third round? I'll be really curious to see what version of Carolina we see in the conference final, whether they face Buffalo or, well, it looks like it's going to be Montreal. But
yeah, I think they have more depth now.
Yeah,
they have guys stepping up that they didn't expect.
Like
the
Elis, who's make a
Stankovens,
big difference. Yeah.
the Blakes. Yeah, they just had a lot of guys stepping up.
Last thing for you, when did the power play change from having the scoring threat be up top like it was for so long versus now it's two players in the middle, Like, that's where all the goals are scored on the power play, scored in the middle. You have, like, the bumper guy, and you have the guy on the goal line who moves around. Like, those were all the goals are scored. And it's no longer scored. You don't need the big shot up top. When did we transition to what we see now in terms of how the best power plays perform?
Yeah, I think it's a great indication of, like, the ability for penalty killers got better.
Mm-hmm.
The
goalies got better.
The goalies got better. The penalty kill is all about giving them what you're willing to give them. And, the good penalty killing teams, to me, eliminate the east to west passes through the seams.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a willingness to, like, do a great job of keeping things to the outside. And you're choosing to give them the flank shots from the top.
Which we don't see as many goals scored there now.
You don't, because you got D that are fronting, that are blocking those shots. You've got guys contesting and understand where their 2-on-1s are up top. You've got forwards that manage their depth much better. And what that's done is it's forced, I think, a lot of power plays to bypass the half-wall guy in a lot of instances and run low plays to kind of
to the slot.
Then it's a 2-on-1 down low, because what they're doing is they're trying to use the over aggressiveness, which great penalty kills are. They're very aggressive, but the holes in doing that are you're going to allow a quick 2-on-1 down low if you're overly aggressive and they're able to execute. So it's just a chess match back and forth.
But I like an aggressive PK.
Yeah,
I'd rather get beat off of being overly aggressive than being passive, and any day of the week.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
It's interesting. I'm just watching, like, all these teams who score on the power play. That's where all the goals are scored.
That's it.
in the middle of the ice.
Yes.
Used to be Al McKinnis up top, or Ovi or Stamkos or Line. One of these guys, they were always scoring on the one-timers on the flank. And you still see teams try to find that guy and try to force the puck to the flank for a one-time.
The bumper is the key, right? To me, like if the bumper is in the correct position and is able to like break pressure, then things break down.
Like the Braden Points of the world and these guys.
Those are
Reinhardt.
So important. They're very likely not going to even get the shot. What they're doing is they're softening the PK.
Although a guy like Kucherov, he's just everywhere. He's just kind of.
He's just so smart.
He's so smart. All right. Tell us about Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
Well, you know what, Dobbs, doesn't matter what you drive, a car, e-truck, van, SUV, hybrid, or otherwise. The best part about it is there are over 42 locations in town. They're family owned. They don't take advantage of you. If you go in, you say, listen, I've got an issue with my alignment, they get it up, fixed, and they tell you what the issue is, and they don't overcharge you. You tell them what your budget is. They'll say, here are the deals we have right now. You don't need to replace all 4. You can replace 2. We'll realign this one. This is how much longer. They make sure that you get the right tire within your budget to keep you and your family safe. And that's what I love about them. They're great people, and they do you right. They always have deals going on. So whatever, if you're loyal to a particular brand or you don't really care, they will get you in the right tire. And they don't just do tires. They'll diagnose your vehicle. They'll fix whatever issue you may have with your car. They'll get it in, up, fixed, note the same day. Go to Dobbs.com for more.
I love it. Oh, thanks a lot, Jammer, as always.
Appreciate it.
All right, so we appreciate Jamal Mayers for coming in, as always. Great conversation with Chris Wideman as well. Enjoy the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs and enjoy the American Hockey League playoffs as well. The Blues are still looking to hire a couple of assistant coaches, too. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. One name to pay attention to is Jay McKee. And I'm not saying the Blues are hiring him, but I think he is getting some interest from some NHL teams. And we'll see how that plays out. He, of course, was coaching in Brantford the last few seasons in the Ontario Hockey League. Played a long time, has been coaching for a long time as well. And he's got a great future ahead of him. So Jay McKee, big shout out. We'll see what happens with Jay moving forward as he finds his way to the next level and continues to build on his coaching future and his resume in terms of where it's at right now. The World Championships are starting. Canada, I think he was Robert Thomas was set to be on a line, on a third line. John Tavares was on that line. Trying to think who the other winger was on the right side with him. Regardless, it was interesting because Dylan Holloway, second line left winger, playing with Ryan O'Reilly. I thought maybe they would keep Holloway and Thomas together, and I wouldn't be surprised at some point during the tournament if they end up putting those two guys back together. You consider the chemistry they have. I would play them together, Holloway and Thomas. So good luck to Canada, good luck to the U.S., and all the countries, obviously, in the World Championships. I like watching the World Championships, and we'll see how that plays out. I would imagine we'll learn some more on the Blues coaching hires, as we get closer to the draft. And we'll have lots of draft coverage. I know people are watching today like, hey, I thought you were going to have somebody on the draft. It's like, I know. We're still in the playoffs, though, and we're still over a month away before the NHL draft, so I want to take my time with that. And then the prospect camp is going to come here as well to St. Louis right after the draft, so that's always fun. First Community brings us Hockey Sense each and every week. I hope you enjoyed the show. As always, everybody over at First Community, Glenn Barks and the whole crew, Hockey Sense would not be possible without our great sponsors, including our friends over at First Community. Check out the new location, the Tesson Ferry location. Again, they're hiring. Ask about the jobs they have available. 401k, paid holidays, full benefits, dental, medical, no extra cost to you. It's a great place to work. And then, of course, they have the Members Best home loan. You can get home loans, lots of different things happening with First Community. So we appreciate our friends over at First Community. stlouisequipment.com. Get those commercial mowers, get those residential mowers, the snow removal mowers, or the snow blowers that they have. They've got so many great things going on there. Used equipment, new equipment, parts, full service shop. So if you have a lawnmower that's not working, take it in, St. Louis Equipment, find the store nearest you, and they'll take care of that for you and get it all fixed up and running for you. So just an incredible um, company there, St. Louis Equipment. So find the location nearest you with St. Louis Equipment. They're cutting my grass right now too. St. Louis Lawn, they're unbelievable. So reach out to me if you want their number. You want to have them cut your grass too. They do full service landscaping. They're amazing at what they do. So St. Louis Equipment, get that new lawnmower or get that old one fixed or get a used one. Snow removal, everything that they have available for you with St. Louis Equipment. Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Call David Novak today. You have wind or hail damage, anything that you're dealing with, call him today. Let him take care of you. 314-920-5713 for Blue Note Roofing, baby. Easy Tiger Cannabis, EasyTigerAZ.com. Check out their website today. Dirt Cheap. Cheap, fun, your one-stop party shop. Check that out and download the app today. Dirt Cheap, fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. And all our great sponsors. Lordo's Diamonds, again, right there in the heart of Ladue. 314-432-8008. Give them a call. All right, for Aiden, everybody affiliated with this edition of Hockey Sense. Chris Wideman, former NHL defenseman. Good luck in your golf tournament this weekend. He's playing in a member guest. Jamal Mayers, whose golf game is actually way better. I mean, it's gotten way better. He's a good golfer now, in addition to being a good analyst and a good hockey player, too. Enjoy the playoffs, everybody. Angie Hess from Spas and More is going to be joining us here in studio, here right after this. So don't go anywhere. Learn more about Spas and More. Get yourself a hot tub. Get yourself a cold tub. Get yourself a sauna. Learn all about that with our girl Angie Hess here in studio coming up next. Angie Hess. I'm Andy Strickland. For Aiden, everybody here at Half Coast Studios reminding you to keep your head up and your stick on the ice. We'll do it again next Friday, our Friday tradition here at Half Coast Studios. Have a great weekend, everybody. All right, Jamal, who do we have in here with us?
Oh, we have
today?
Angie Hess from Spas and More. So nice of you to come out.
Oh, thank
Appreciate
you
it.
for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
What's your favorite product that you sell? Do you ever go into the showroom and just be like, I'm going to go in the hot tub right now. I'm just going to take a little hot tub, little dip right now.
Oh.
Or go in the swim tubs. You have a lot of options.
Oh, yeah. My favorite by far is our Twilight Series hot tubs, which is actually the line that you're getting, Jamal, because of my health issues. The Twilight is by far the best for me.
Really?
Because of big wide jets, and it's really a good massage therapy. You're getting the more upgraded version because of your family with athletes and everything like that with the Michael Phelps. But also as part of my weight loss journey, being able to get into the swim spas and exercise and stuff is amazing as well. So.
Wow. Good for you. That's amazing. What about the saunas? Jamal's all about the sauna.
Oh.
He's telling me you got to go cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot.
Contrast therapy is a huge thing, and Jamal is getting a cold plunge, but he's getting a traditional outdoor sauna. We do that one, but our specialty is the inside infrared saunas, which is what Cam just got.
So his can't go outside.
His can't go outside. Infrared saunas are actually a lot better than the traditional steam. Because it's a deep penetrating heat that pulls toxins from the inside, the subcutaneous layers out and brings it out in the sweat. Firefighters use it to detox after fires. Athletes use it to help detox, but the contrast therapy going from cold to hot actually helps metabolism increase. It helps burn fat. You're actually 20 minutes in an infrared sauna. You're getting a full cardio workout because of the heart rate increase and everything.
All right. So your locations are where?
We're located here in St. Louis at 12957 Gravois Road.
Great showroom, by the way.
Yeah.
We have been in that location since 2007. We are celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. My dad opened Spas and More in 2006. And we have a second location in Overland Park, Kansas that we opened in 2021. And my daughter is the store manager out there.
Wow.
And tell us about how the process works. Like for me, we're building a new house. You're able to show us, okay, this is what the layout's going to be. These are the permits and the things you're going to need to look to get. These are the, the hookups that you're going to need for electricity and so forth. Maybe just talk through a little bit of what that requirement looks like and what it means for a family that's interested in doing this.
Yeah, so it all starts in what you're actually looking to get out of the product you're purchasing, whether it's relaxation, whether it's therapy, if you're looking for a splash pool or swimming or competitive swimming. So that's the first thing. Coming to our showroom or coming to one of our sale expos that we have. where we have we try to have one of everything on display as much as possible so we can talk you through your needs. And then we go from that point to the next steps is the size and location where you want to place it. So, is a 7 foot going to work? Is an 8 foot going to work? And then we have in our St. Louis market and in our Kansas City market preferred vendors that will talk to you, that will help you with your permitting process, that'll come out and do inspections to make sure your electric is up to code, that you have enough space if you need concrete. And we work hand in hand with those to coordinate your delivery so that everything is seamless as possible. We work with a lot of HOAs, and we have documented steps as far as here's how you present this to your HOA, because some HOAs will look at a swim spa in particular and say, this is a pool. It's not, it's a portable hot tub. Here's how we go about doing this. Here's the criteria that this is all facing. So we're happy to work with anybody to get everything down. We can be a general contractor of sorts by setting up, we're going to deliver on this day, bring the electric in at this point in time. Here's how we're going to do everything. But my biggest thing is getting to know the individual and knowing that their needs to put them in the right product. Because I don't want to I don't want to oversell poor quality, or not necessarily poor quality, but something that's not going to benefit them in the long run, because master spas are designed to be 20+ year tubs.
Really?
And tell us a little bit. Master Spas is made in America, right? They're one of the
Yep.
American made, baby.
They are the largest manufacturer of hot tubs and swim spas in the United States. They are located in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They started in 1996 as Fort Wayne Pool and Spa, and became Master Spa. And actually, my dad has been with them since the get-go in 1996. He was one of the first traveling salespeople out there working in Indiana, then came to St. Louis and worked for the showroom here before he took over.
And you carry chili goat tubs as well in
Mhm.
the swim spas. That's the Michael Phelps
Yes.
line.
Michael has been an ambassador with,
You know Michael?
I do. I've met him a few times.
Really?
Yep.
Has he been in the store?
You were questioning. Yeah, I was like,
He
yeah.
hasn't-
I
he
feel
hasn't-
like she
he
said that.
He
before.
hasn't been to the store, but he's come to a lot of our dealer meetings. He's a great man to speak with, especially when he gets down and talks about his own mental health struggles.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing that even though he is the best swimmer of all time, that he's actually just like any one of us and has all those struggles. So it's been a pleasure to know him over the years. But he's been with us since about 2011, 2012, started with the swim spa line, then we have the hot tub line. And then as he left the spotlight and the mental health struggles continued, that's where he came to us to bring the chili goat and the sweaty goat, the saunas and the cold plunges, because those actually helped him focus and get through some of his
Chili
mental
goat
health.
is the cold tub, sweaty goat is the saunas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right, so how can people get a hold of you?
Phone number is 314-843-7727. That is our direct line to our St. Louis store. Or you can check us out on our new website launching next week, www.spasandmorestl.com.
Wow, www.spasandmorestl.com. And you're doing stuff with the Battlehawks
Yes.
and the Chiefs?
Yes, we actually we're a sponsor for the Battlehawks, so call is the law. We're looking to pack the dome this weekend and see me down at FanFest. We are going to be partnering with Creed Humphrey and doing some work with him in our Kansas City market and sponsoring the Chiefs yearbook this year. So it's been a lot of fun. Plus, I have a lot of good friends with some of the Blues players.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Real quick, what do you want to see the Blues do this summer? You got an opinion on that?
My honest opinion is I would like to see Robert Thomas be made captain.
Ooh.
I don't think having a year of no captain makes a lot of sense in just running alternates, but I think that if you're going to build a team with a young presence, Thomas needs to be the leader because he is like almost the most senior young person we have.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that after the Shen trade, he became a lot more dominant, and I think that he would have a very good grasp on everybody coming up from Springfield and everything, and that's my biggest thing.
Look at you.
I like it.
Breaking it down. I love it. Put that Sarah Robbie Thomas. All right, Angie has spas and more. She puts the in spa.
Thanks so much for coming out.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.